Oh man, I was talking and I ain't even recorded. Man, I said some really good stuff. But that's sad though, cause I said some really good stuff. But like I said, I was really venting, and I was just talking about the duality and the polarization of your actual being, and actually being able to use the polarization from your dark side to your light. You can use, devilish and, evil tactics in the higher light to overcome and accomplish things. But you have to make sure you use them, wisely in a certain aspect, for probably confidence or charismatic. Like you have to be overly aggressive in certain situations. You have to use that dark side. You have to prove your savviness in a very a very talented environment. You got to show some type of vigor. You know, these are all dark elements that you use that are that you can apprehend in the light and use as a light force, a life force. And you can do the same thing in the dark aspect to defeat your foes, because in defeating your foes in the dark world, in the darker realm, they're gonna be just as dark and try to be darker than you. So what do you have to do? You have to be like a gesture, or you have to be like a gesture, a joker. You have to use charismatic means, or you have to be overly loving and stuff. Like women use their allure and their leer, their sexuality to beat things or overcome things, or to lure you in from the dark side and give what they want out of you. That paper. I said a whole lot more. I wish you would have recorded, but it's not saying that women or their sexual powers are evil. That's just another part of their talents and their savviness that they're able to use in order to accomplish things. You know what I'm saying? But you can use these things for darkness, and you can use these things for light. You know what I'm saying? I'm just letting you know that you can always use these things in a duality. You know, before they become too light and it no longer has any traction, no more progress for you being too light, and you forget about your vigor and your aggressiveness that you in which you come from, which is nature, which should be closer to the foundation in which you come from, that got you to the light in the first place. But it's all a duality, because the light is the darkness and the darkness is light. There's still energy in dark, and there's obvious energy in light, but we have to we have to appreciate both and respect both realms as well, because you go into too much of a light place, and you try to use so much such a certain dark tactic. The light side will overtake the dark, and it's vice versa for the dark side. And it's like, okay, but we're super dark over here. You can't be any type of light. You got to be just as dark as us, and you got to know how to maneuver. So you still got to use those same tactics and be able to be be without be without form, and actually learn how to flow through these dualities. The reason why I post these things, that I always have in faith that somebody's going to once upon a time, somebody's going to dig up, intuitive bloggers, and they're going to try to dissect what people actually dissect what people uh, dissect dissect the word of people that knew what they were talking about, and actually bring that back to life, or bring that back up to light one day, so they can spread that information out to people. Because I know people don't always watch my videos, but I'm pretty sure one day they will and catch on as we continue to evolutionize ourselves in these worlds. Because it's gonna take some real in-depth knowledge, in which I'm gonna have to admit and be humble towards my ancestors, that I was fed through and understood uh, telekinetically through meditation. And I even received answers during my sleep. Like I'll wake up, go to sleep, wake up, go to sleep before my alarms even go off, and receive answers. And hell to my ancestors, all because of that. But my computer's gonna die. My computer's about to die. But I still got a little bit of time left. I should have like 15% left. But I was just saying, like, um, um, okay, I'm gonna say two things. Okay, one, I just had a discussion with somebody I was taking care of, and like I'm about to gain a lot of I've been gaining a lot of experience. I'm gaining a lot of knowledge, and I'm still rough on the herbs part, but I'm still learning about I'm still learning I'm still brushing up on the herbs, but that's only because I'm in the backdrop of really learning some real knowledge. And it's like lately I've been tested by like demons around me, but I've also uh, I've also been praised by my ancestors uh, exemplarily. Like lately, I've sensed like a backdraft of evil to come, but in a way that I've already received it in a cycle, and I already knew how to deal with. So I already knew what the feeling felt like. But this time was different. It was like my ancestors was actually showing me through the spirit in which they was all talking to me. I think I felt my granny, I felt my mother, I felt my family too. But my ancestors really talked to me along with my mom, and they were really showing me up. It's like I was walking, and I was dripping, I was juiced up, like I had a little stuff on me, but I wasn't really like flossy or nothing. I was just being myself, being a little creative, and I was walking, and people, a female actually stopped, and she was like, "I love your energy," and that has never happened before to me in the past 7 years. And girl really stopped, pulled me over in her car. She actually busted a U-turn and actually stopped me dead ass and told me she liked my energy. And I'm about to tell you why in a minute. And so previously before that, actually that night, I had dudes holler at me, like sitting next to me, trying to speak their woes, and it's the same, not the same recommendation, the same curriculum. It's like they still spitting about the same stuff, but it's like I still excel, but I learned and I gained the words to actually speak to this person, so I didn't hear it off of like just off face, like I'm here with you, brother. I don't like, politics and the Constitution too, but you know what I'm saying. It's like that. It's not like that anymore. It's like now I can uplift people with these words that I found out that actually, from the real truth because of my works. It's like now it's more than paying off. My research is now more paying off beyond the aspect of money. It's like the knowledge itself is praised from my ancestors that I know where I come from. It's like if I, and I'm actually receiving this right now. It's like if I praised money because of the knowledge that I received from my ancestors now, it would be they would understand. Actually, they would not. They they wouldn't understand. It's not that at all. It's that they respect my honor in my balance and my harmony in knowing that money never meant anything to me in the first place. That I was not saying anything about anybody else, but they understood that me knowing this knowledge now wasn't even going to be able to be sold. They knew that once I understood the knowledge that I learned, that the only thing I would have to do was go out there and actually do it. Cure people, save people, do everything I needed to do. What else? I was just out there in the general public, and I've been like maneuvering since I was little. Like I always got lost every once in a while. When I got in my teenage years, I'll just go out into like the suburban areas, or I go out into the hood or the back roads, and I always travel. I was the creeper, but I always learn from like other cultures or other cities or cultures if I could. You know what I'm saying? Because I was always intrigued by different ethnicities. Of course, I love being black, but I was always intrigued by these things, so I always learned what I could. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, I did live in the ghettos, but I always found joy and pleasure in being in different environments that I learned from. And even if I couldn't be in these environments, I always pushed myself the next day to always, like, not the next day, but every single time that I could, to go out there and actually become better in those environments. So I knew, because I knew that it would mold me and it would make me a better man, a better person, along with the virtues I was learning from the Bible and the internet and just socially observing people. I learned to just watch people and actually be able to just pick them apart and understand their values and characteristics and beyond heroes and villains. I always knew to instill those and structure those in my psyche and my characteristics and those in my light and my aura themselves, so I could go forth and actually be a good man and a good person overall one day. You know what I'm saying? A good being overall one day. So what do I mean by that? Okay, so man, I was talking to my ancestors. They was kind of like shaky about what I was saying about that. But okay. Because they didn't want they didn't want me to elaborate too much. But my ancestors like super talking to me now. Once I learned this information, it's like so trippy. But I know it's them. You know what I'm saying? I know it's them because they was giving me so much praise. So I went out there into the general public as usual, and I was just going about. And this time, I didn't feel, the same way in pawns, in the aspect of discrimination or or anything of that fashion. You know what I'm saying? Because I had the knowledge now instilled inside of me. It wasn't just knowledge. I'm applying it to my spirituality. Like everything that I've always done, I've always applied it to. So now I'm going out and I can feel a difference. Besides, it's besides the actual. It's besides just knowing the knowledge. It's what I've always been walking through. But now that I know that now that I've made a step forward into a whole entire realm of knowledge, now it's like I'm stepping into a world that is now open for every single possibility from what I know throughout my whole entire being now. And this is why. So I'm sitting up here, like I said, my laptop is tripping. But okay, so I was also putting myself in the same situation and I was trying to be in dissent because I was so exalted by my ancestors, but they was like, no, you don't understand what you really found out. And everything that used to hit me the same way that I was able to combat with differently, and I always made my day lighter by always respecting it. People always that's another thing. People are so magnetically attracted to me, but I can decipher that now. Like I used to see people and they be tripping on me, but it's like now I guess that was some of my subconscious demons, you know, always trying to push me to elevate into points that I could further understand because spiritually I didn't understand and orgasmically, you know, in terms of just biological beings, I didn't understand certain aspects of interaction, but now I do. You know what I'm saying? So when people always gravitate me or they always creep around me and try to, give me this certain leer or a certain disgusting look, and it's I was still whole, but I wasn't as whole as I am now because I always knew that I always had to help people, I always had to do stuff, I always had to get to my point, which always left a portal, or a vortex open in my realm for people to still put negativity or no imminent no intimate or what is it animate no emit it's kind of like imitate, but it's like emitted, like they was able to emit a certain energy that I would perceive as negative. You know what I'm saying? But now that I'm like completely whole in my being, and it's like now I'm in harmony with everybody's else psyche from my whole path from since I was little, since I was forever. It's like now I can see people in a different light now. It's like now people do this type of things. Like it's like my energy is completely different. It's like people now they gravitate towards me. Like I now like now I respect the handsomeness of a man, and now I respect the sexiness and the beautifulness of a woman. But I also I'm realizing that it's not only the woman's beauty, but it's also, the woman has a mind, and the man is very creative, just like me. These are enlightening revolutionary points. These are my revelations. You know what I'm saying? This is really dope. And now, not only from those aspects in which I see these things, like now, just ordinarily being out like this, people that gravitate towards me, you got to realize that they're part of your energy series of sequences, and these people are acting a certain way towards you because of a relay, like a relay of sounds and frequencies, of energies that are going throughout your beings that you guys associate with. Whether there's a combination that you are with or without, or somebody needs to build on or descend from. You know what I'm saying? This is like real. This is like real knowledge. This is like the science. This before our ancient people. This is the ancient knowledge that you. This is what they were representing. They were never saying that they were the first. They were saying they were honoring the the beginning. Every single last one of them are saying that we're just honoring the science that we knew. So they were proud of me. I think that's how it goes. They were just honoring, and they were proud of me for actually just figuring this part out. So now, and with this, the honoring and the sciences in which I know, I'm looking at people differently now. They're every single time somebody come around and try to spit me with that flow or hit me with that flow, it's like now I can see their whole entire being, and I can just spit it back to them. I'm just like, man, like, you doing this because you trying to sway, and you trying to get me to, and you know what I'm saying? Once you understand the duality of everything, it's like, man, you know, I can really tell what you really going through because I know myself to the fullest, and I know everything about everything, and you know what I'm saying? I know about everything that I come from, so there's no possible way that you even, this that you even are completely, whole yourself for trying to emanate a certain um, energy upon me in such a distasteful way. There's obviously an agenda behind you. You know what I'm saying? Because my operations is full forward right now. You know what I'm saying? I know exactly where I'm going. I know where I've been. I know what it is. And I just need to find out, even in my energy, I still have to humble myself and understand why you're even in my face. Either I got to help you or there's something that you're relaying in my being that maybe I still need to fix, that you're trying to, crack at it and still tell me from like a different spiritual energy, aura from yourself that I need to see, and it can enlighten you. Or I still need to grow, and me growing actually helps you. But I mean, it's no but I have to sorrowly apologize and actually grow and understand that that's all a part of um, being balanced, is being vulnerable and allowing things to flourish. You know, you know what I'm saying? Indication probably indication that the spirit probably just flowed through me and made me say that. You know what I'm saying? But my ancestors hit me like that. That's how my ancestors hit me. So this is what I found out. I was up there, I was doodling, I was going over all my work. It's gonna be a breeze. Now I was going through all my work. And I was like, man, this is crazy. I was like, man, I don't know when I'm gonna figure all this stuff out. I just cannot wait. And I was going through all my work. I was going on that cardboard and everything like that. And I was just going through like the words, and I was word playing. Like I said, I could rap a little bit, so I understood like the technicality of the wordplay of like everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm understanding people's root words and their dialect. With the Shakespeare's and the ciphers, and you harmonious. You deal with music, or you deal with words, or even mathematics. You start to see association. Everything has the same. The romantic. Uh, uh, romantic. I guess you just say harmony. Like, no, you say you can see the same pattern. You'll be able to see the same pattern in certain things after a while, and everything start to correlate. And you be like, hey, what is that? You know what I'm saying? Like how they say, like, there's no possible way that there aren't aliens around here. You know what I'm saying? But just continue on. But like, it's just right here. It's like, okay, I was dealing with this information, and I was starting to get my chemistry shit set. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna start working on my stuff and actually learning how to protect myself. But my energy was like, it's not always about strength. It isn't always about fighting. It's about your heart. It's about your art. It's about your creativity, and it's about teaching these people because it's like they were like even this was like an indication of I was getting close to the truth. They were like, even when you find it out, you can't just go out there and belligerently just battle it out with everybody because they gonna shut off all the lights and it's gonna be damn I am legend around this bitch. With whatever they let loose, and you ain't do no practicing. You ain't really find it. I mean, you found out the truth, but you didn't practice, so you didn't go through all the elements. You didn't read none of the archives yet. You know what I'm saying? You may have found out the truth, the basics and the foundation and everything, but you got to go through all of this to understand, and you have to rebalance yourself and understand that it's not always about war. It's not always about strength. It's not always about fighting. It's not this helped me grow. It's like the saying with the heroes. It was like with great strength comes great responsibility, but overall it's balance because now in this pride land you have to now re-instruct and re-educate everybody. Not only not and the curriculum isn't just a basics of just education. It's about the mind, body, and spirit, and the sciences of the universe around them. So you have to teach them everything. You got to get them out for everything they're eating. You have to get them off of everything they know. You have to get them off of everything and actually reteach them and get their perception completely off of this program and actually reteach them the actualities of their abilities in real life. And that is that they can do absolutely everything with the universe around them through the reactions of I mean it just this they trying to spit something to me because I know they no they trying to spit something to me because that's how real people are going to have to understand their life is that they can do absolutely everything. Of course it's just going to be everyday life, but they're going to have to they're going to have to know again that they are just as extraterrestrial, just as supernatural, and just as unique and incredible as nature and the universe itself. They're gonna have to re-know that. They're gonna have to be realigned with everything that they would have to had to have geographically be biometrically set in the first place. You know that you know how hard that's gonna be. But this is what I found out. But this is gonna explain it all. I actually found out just to hit you real quick. I actually found out mathematically how to date geographically, geometrically, biometrically, astronomically, cosmetically, um, um, nomadically. Nah, I don't know what the nomadic word means. I shouldn't get bopped for that. But I actually found out how to actually recalculate our biology backwards and forwards back to the origins in which it came to modern day. I guess you could say to this modern day metric system today. I actually and that's I know that's hard to understand, but I'm able to now. I haven't completed it yet. I'm just starting because I'm trying to find out where exactly I can start. But this is what they praised me for. They were like, they honored me. I can now metrically, I can now metrically equate through geometrics and sound what everything resonates with, but metrically break everything back down, back to its origins, back down to its elements. Actually, I think no. Actually, I'm starting from its elementary basis, from the frequencies and measurements of sound in which they have in uh, they have in our formulas today, in your classrooms. This is also why I'm also relaying and harmonizing with everybody around me, because they are learning this in school, but they're not telling everybody that this is all lining up with your biometrics. And this goes along with colors, sound, emotions, your genetics, your X and Y chromosomes. Like, I'm not too sure about the X and Y chromosomes, but actually I'm completely sure about the X and Y chromosomes, because in which the frequencies actually begin with is um is infinity to infinity, which is the X and Y axis. So that's actually where, the first participle, not participle. I think the word is participle. The first particle starts from is the in between. Is not in between. It's where, right where infinity and infinity, right where the focal point of infinity starts at, and where it crosses. So from there you can go up, down, left, right. You know, it also it's you're also able to dimensionalize it, and actually find out from from the XL of that focal point of dimensions. You can spot it right there, pretty much anywhere. You can spot it. You can spot it anywhere and actually track it back to like 0, 0, and that is from the X and Y axis. I know this is very hard to understand, but what I'm saying is that just like how they have the like everything is a grid, everything is a frequency, everything is vibration. Okay, so what you can do, you can learn how to emit sounds and metricize and measure sounds, and actually find out find out the find out how to geometrically calculate sounds and frequencies. Okay, and through these sounds and frequencies, you're gonna get light. You're gonna get all types of radiation. You're gonna get radiation, which is side note, is raw, which is amenities, which is just the fabric of space, which is particles. It's just is what everything is made out of. It's just the fabric of space, which is um, Egyptian. Egyptian is what the Egyptians said was raw, but this knowledge goes way beyond before anybody that we probably even have on record. You know what I'm saying? This is why my ancestors praise me, because I didn't just learn it from, the people, everybody's stereotyping us to be, just, black people, Egyptians, this is where you learn it from, this and that. And no, I learned this from the English alphabet, which is Alpha and Omega. Alpha, Alpha being, what is it? I think Alpha being A, so it's A, B, C, D, and, A, and then Beta is actually the travel, which is it's an attempt to travel. So it's, no, it's actually traveling. So beta is like, moving forward, which is you get A, B, and then I haven't found out what C is, but I actually found out what C is, but it's just as much as a frequency as alpha and beta, but the whole the whole alphabet in frequencies, in geometric frequencies, is actually in Greek. The whole, yeah, and geometric frequencies is actually in Greek. It's also in Egyptian and whatever other civilization that design their alphabet language after the mathematics of their culture. This is also why they said that the Indricas from the ancient empire of Benin is were actually set in the matrix. And this is also what I'm explaining to you, because if you go through the sounds and the matrices of our biometric systems, you're gonna start to you're gonna start to calculate after a few million years or a million man, you're gonna go so far that you're gonna start getting pictures off of these layups, off of these overlays and these relays. You're gonna start getting pictures. You're probably gonna get a different type of being, and they're gonna be set in this constellation. This is what I'm trying to tell you. They're gonna be set in this constellation, and they're gonna keep doing relays, and that being is gonna keep evolutionizing itself through your mathematics, through beta and the gamma, which is the life force, which is the fluid, which is the sperm, is going to keep excelling naturally, and it's going to go somewhere else, and then the alpha is going to keep the alpha is going to continue to be radiant in itself. I think the alpha, it doesn't go the opposite way. I think it was depicted as going the opposite way, but the alpha just means that it can, I think it goes on I think it's the aligning in which the gene is the lining in which the gene wants to go in the first place. So it's not it's intellectual. The alphabet is also intellectually aligned through the depiction of the evolutionary process. So the only thing the alpha is depicting is that it's just saying that, okay, I'm the starting A, and as you continue on throughout the alphabet, you're going to see different radiations and combinations as you go through until you get to omega, and omega is gonna relay back to me because it's the end of the alphabet, and I'm gonna keep going the same way that I'm going to, but I'm gonna also be relaying the rest of these alphabet sounds through me because I'm the alpha. I'm the beginning of the alphabet, and the relays go throughout the alphabet that way. So I'm, like I was saying, I was drawing up my board and I was going through this information on my notes, and I started to realize that the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 was also frequencies, and they were also lining up with the number with the infinity sign, the number 8, and they actually go in the whole of the number 8. Every single last one of them is actually applying to each other. Every single last one of them are applying to each other, but the number 8 was made in the depiction of, not the depiction, no, the number, the symbol infinity was, no, is, they're a conundrum between each other. So they still represent the same whole numbers and symbols in which they abide by, but they also relay the exact same thing through their statues in which they stand in. So you have the number 8 in your number system. It really means infinity as a whole. So everything is still going into the number 8. So I'm finding out all this stuff, but you still have to relay everything is still respected in the alphabet, because the alphabet is still a word into the understanding of currency, flow, and evolution. This is another reason why it's the X and Y. Um, I think the X is right before you hop out because of Z, because then the Z will go straight down, and then the Y is going up right before you get to X. And there's also a frequency for the X to be at the focal point, and to bring the Y to continue the Y to XL, but it's also an angle. But I think the why. But there's an angle. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why the y has an angle. Has the x, y, z. I think the y has an angle on it because it correlates with the z. Because of the angle on it is actually representing a certain number, and that's exactly. I haven't went into detail because of that, but it's also in line with it's also in line with the X and Y chromosomes. So the X and Y is also in line with the biometrices of what our genes actually look like at a certain point, at that focal point, which is the 1 1, and which is the one which at the time in geometry, no, at the time in the number system of the Greeks was 1, and then the 1 1, which is 2. So you get the X chromosome, I think is 1, and then the Y chromosomes, which is 2, and then the Y is actually going up because it's actually a stack, and then the X is actually going forward because it's actually a plane, and this is where you get the negative and the positives of the actual grid board of like those matrices through your calculator and stuff like that. This is why I'm saying spiritually and energetically. This is why I'm also being harmonized back into the general public. I haven't been this way since I was like since I was man since I was like since I was like on track to like going to college and stuff like that, that I wasn't like around people socially and accepted so much. It was like people know me now because it all has to do with the spirit and the energy uh, of your being and the aura that you're getting off, because I've been thinking and I've been researching and I've been trying to get it in the rap career. But my rap, like I've been good in my rap, I've always been trying to like set up an actual campaign that I knew I could blow up. But all this stuff happened to me, and it was like it was meant to be, because it was never on my back burner. I was always studying this stuff on the slide and understanding these things on the slide. And this was always, oh snap, my computer's dying. I was always carrying this stuff on my shoulder, so when I brought it back to the camp, like when I gained the crown, because I'm good enough to gain the crown in the game, I always knew I was gonna come with the hammer and bam, you know what I'm saying, just tell everybody about the truth and everything. But I didn't know the complete truth. But I learned, I got taught, I went through some more, I got taught some more, and then now I broke through this information, and man, I'm like, man, this goes way beyond trying to be a rapper now. This goes way beyond even going to school. It's like I found out everything everybody knows through the hidden language of our alphabet and our number system, in the acoustics and the frequencies of radio waves and stuff. This is dope, and this is what my ancestors was praising me about, because even through you finding out the biometrics, also what you're gonna find out through these RF waves and these X and Y geographic chromosomes, chromosomic um, matrices. What else you're gonna actually find out is that you can actually also calculate the periodic table and find out where everything periodically came from as elements, and then foundatively lay those down and find out where your genes came from those combinations, and how the earth was made, so on and so forth, and then find out the constellations. This is where they get alchemy from. This is where our ancient ancestors get all their information from. They did it differently, maybe just through acoustics or just calculating the stars. There's different ways in which everybody does it, but you can live. This also explains the zodiac. This also explains emotions. This also explains colors. This also explains it. I already said DNA and stuff. Like, my ancestors are really on my behind right now. It's so crazy. They're like, even if you think it, we're gonna be on your ass. That's why I keep slipping up, because I don't. But I gotta be raw with it, because I still gotta be raw. But I'm real talk. This is what I found out. This is really what I found out. You can find out everything through the biometrics of geometry and radio waves and frequencies. This is where all of our ancient ancestors were cultivated by, and beyond that, in which they honored for us. So you can even find out the food you're supposed to eat. People nowadays, everybody want to argue about this. You can even find out that you ain't supposed to be eating animals, and you can find out which plants you're supposed to eat. You can even find herbal remedies through this vortex. This is also why voodoo queens. This is also why people of magic, voodoo, Satan. This is why they know everything about astrology too. It's through this that protractor on Freemasonry symbology. That's what they use to navigate the stars and the frequencies. This is all. This is all their information. I can say it. I was right. I was right, and I broke the code, and I found out that that was exactly what all this stuff is. That means every single thing, all these numbers around you are increments of infinity. Every single last one of them. Even the letters are. I ain't BSing at all. And not BSing. You'll find the Greek alphabet. That's what the alphabet means. But you find the Greek alphabet in like quantum physics, in every aspect of manufacturing and voltages and stuff like that. Of course, you'll find the alphabet everywhere, but this is like real talk. This is what everything is aligned by. You can find absolutely everything about everything through that information right there.